So I'm Richard Blackford, and I've just finished writing a choral work called Pietà. It's a 45-minute commission from the Bournemouth Symphony Chorus and Orchestra, and it's going to be performed in June this year, 2019. And Pietà is essentially a Stabat Mater, setting of the Latin Stabat Mater with some extra texts. I was attracted to the Stabat Mater because it's incredibly powerful. It's quite a heavy piece. Some people say it's heavier even than the Requiem text, but it describes the agony of Jesus' mother as she cradles her son in her arms after the crucifixion. But it's not just about Mary and Jesus, it's the experience that any mother might have experienced losing a child through natural causes or through warfare or as a refugee. And I think it was that universal aspect of it that caught my attention. And then as I started writing it, I became aware of poems by the Russian poet Anna Akhmatova, who, as well as having lost her husband to Stalin's KGB, thought she had lost her son. Her son was arrested in the middle of the night, and she thought she would never see him again. As it turned out, she did, and he did turn up at the end of Stalin's regime. But Akhmatova wrote a series of poems called Requiem, in which she imagined herself as the grieving mother, and I set 4 of her poems interweaved in an English translation with the Stabat Mater text. One of the things I tried to do with Pietà is to bring the Stabat Mater, which after all has been set over 80 times by different composers, into our times, and by including the poems by Anna Akhmatova, it gives it very much a 20th and even 21st century slant on this theme of the grieving mother. But in addition to that, I decided to score, as well as a string orchestra, a soprano saxophone. And the soprano saxophone is the third voice. There are parts for mezzo-soprano and baritone soloists, but I wanted an abstract voice, the voice of every grieving mother. And so the soprano saxophone is an obbligato part that plays in 4 of the 7 movements. So the premiere will be given by the Bournemouth Symphony Chorus and Bournemouth Symphony Youth Chorus. There's quite an important part for youth choir as well, and the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, and it will be conducted by Gavin Carr. Gavin's conducted several of my choral pieces. He's a powerhouse of a conductor, and this piece is dedicated to him in thanks for all the incredible musical work he's done for me in the past. The soprano saxophone part will be played by Amy Dixon, the internationally renowned Australian saxophonist. And the solo parts, the baritone will be Stephen Gadd, and the mezzo-soprano will be Jennifer Johnston. Originally the piece was going to be called Stabat Mater, but then I went to Rome with my wife, and we went to St. Peter's and we saw the incredible statue of Michelangelo called Pietà. And one of the things about Michelangelo's Pietà is it's almost luminous, and it combines incredible beauty with poignancy. And I realised that was one of the qualities I wanted the music to have. It wasn't going to be downright depressing or painful. Much of what I've tried to do is to create something which is extremely beautiful, extremely lyrical. And I think that connection with the Michelangelo image really helped to inform the title, so it became Pietà. While I was writing Pietà, a conductor friend said one of the difficulties setting Pietà is that you've got 6 slow movements. It's really hard to write fast music. And I found that wasn't the case when I set to writing it. I found it incredibly dramatic and passionate, and there is a great deal of fast and very rhythmic music in it. For example, the baritone solo, when he describes how Christ was flagellated, literally beat with whips, and it's very, very graphic imagery. So I can play a little bit of the introduction to the baritone solo, just on Sibelius as a demo to give you an idea of it. voice comes in.